Welcome to Clienting, your place to get information about legal marketing and client development.
Hi, this is Tsakalakis.
And this is Kelly Street. On this episode of Clienting, we're talking about the best keywords for XYZ lawyers. Fill in the blank for the type of lawyer you are. We'll talk about how to identify keywords, what research and tools you should use, and then how to use those keywords appropriately on your site.
Great topic. So the reason that this actually came up is we actually had an inquiry through our site that was asking about what keywords are the best keywords for XYZ lawyer. In this particular case, it was someone that wanted to know like keywords for landlord-tenant. And I tried to articulate it through the chat, and so I figured might be better to have more of a conversation about this. And the first thing that I want people to conceptually think about is this idea of listening to your audience. So we're going to talk a lot of SEO tools, we're going to talk a lot of keyword research tools, but you know what the best way to find keywords to use?
Ask your clients.
Ask your clients. Listen to what their questions are. Ask them how they describe your services. Watch them actually perform a search. That's some of the most valuable keyword research that you can possibly do. And again, relevant because these are people that are actually have become your clients. They're going to speak in a natural way, search in their natural way. If you're a local lawyer, they're going to reflect the local language that people use. So best keyword research tool, starting with ask your clients, listen to your clients, listen to their questions.
Yes. So everyone typically gets directed in all of these, how do I figure out my keywords, gets directed to Google's AdWords. How do you use that effectively without getting overwhelmed or without just like stuffing 100 keywords into each and every blog post to try to hit every single one that you possibly can?
Right. Great question. So AdWords, and we got to distinguish two things. There's the AdWords keyword planning tool. Horrible. Not very good. It gives you very unsophisticated. I mean, I should back up. Sorry, AdWords. It's not horrible. But that's like one very loose data set. I would not put all of my eggs in the keyword planning tool bucket. However, if I'm running an AdWords account, then there are a variety of ways you can use real AdWords system data to mine out keywords. And I think that can be very valuable. So if you broad match personal injury lawyer, for example, and then go and run that for a while and then go look at your search queries reports, you're going to see a bunch of keywords in there with impression data that are going to tell you what people are actually searching on. And I think we should probably back up. So one of the things that's really important to think about is part of your identifying of keywords is figuring out what people are searching for and how often they're searching for it as it pertains to your practice. So that's volume, right? So volume matters. Another factor in choosing keywords is competition, right? So some keywords are a lot less competitive, especially if you talk about long tail keywords, which are, maybe a whole question that someone might type into Google. Those are less competitive, but of course, there's less volume for those. So, there's three major things that I like to think about with kind of prioritizing keywords. One is volume. So we talked about that a little bit. Two is competition. So how hard is it going to be to actually appear for this search? And we can talk about how to determine competition levels. There are tools for that too. And three is, we'll call it relevance, but it's really identifying, is this a research query where someone's more at the top of the funnel, like they don't even know they need a lawyer, or is this like lawyer lookup keyword, which is bottom of the funnel, more transactional? Those tend to be even more competitive, higher volume. Lawyers are spending a lot of money on those. But I think it's really important to think about those three major factors in deciding keywords. Like everybody kind of gets the volume game, but they're not as dialed into competition level and relevance.
Okay, so how do you identify the competition keywords? Where would you go to look for those? What's better than Google AdWords or the keyword planner?
Great questions.
Where should somebody start?
So Moz has a keyword difficulty tool. You can also just simply search the keyword in Google very loosely and see how many results Google has. That's very, very loose. There are, I think, more sophisticated tools, but that will show you, if you do a search in Google and it shows you, a certain number of results. If there are millions of results, higher competition, generally speaking. But Moz has a tool. Most of the major SEO vendors have some kind of keyword scoring tool. So Ahrefs has a keyword difficulty, I believe. But if you go out and just search keyword difficulty tools, you can find, a lot of those. And then another thing that I like to do is look at the sites that rank in the top 3 spots for those keywords, and then go look at things like backlinks of those sites and how many pages those sites have. Because what's often happens is that you can see in many instances, search is a winner take most game, meaning you've got to be in those top 3 spots. And so if your site can't beat the site that's currently ranking for those keywords, it's going to be a really hard one for you to rank for. On the other hand, if a site or a page is ranking for a particular keyword that doesn't have a lot of links, it's on a small site, maybe the site's lacking a lot of optimizations, that might be a huge opportunity for you because it might be a lot easier for you to rank. So use keyword difficulty tools, use Moz, use Ahrefs, kind of get a general sense of how competitive keywords are. But I really like to dive in and do competitive analysis on the sites that are actually ranking for the keyword that I'm targeting.
So you're going through their blog posts, you're looking at their website, you're looking to see how they describe themselves, how they list themselves, anything else in particular that people should look for?
Yeah, I like to go on and do a full crawl of those competitor sites, use a tool like Screaming Frog, see how many pages get crawled. You can also combine Screaming Frog with something like URL Profiler and then look at the backlinks and the other indirect metrics. I've been recently railing against some of these proxy metrics like citation flow and page authority. But as good general metrics, I think that those can help you understand how hard it is going to be to compete for any particular keyword if you identify those competitors in advance. So that's kind of how I look at competition level. And then the third thing being relevance. Everybody thinks the same way about city plus practice area plus lawyer. So Chicago personal injury lawyer, everybody wants to rank for those terms. Yeah, those are business lookup terms, extremely relevant. A lot of people are competing for those. Sometimes the impression volume is skewed on those because a lot of the tools and other SEO companies are actually like pinging Google and making it look like, so the impression numbers are actually inflated for there. And that's why, again, things like questions, how-tos, longer tail, while those might be a little further up the quote-unquote funnel, most of the people using the internet are doing it for some kind of research. A far fewer number are doing these business lookups. So from a relevance standpoint, my suggestion to lawyers is open your minds to all of the other research-based queries that people might be doing that are related to your subject matter.
Yeah, one really good tool for this is Answer the Public, answerthepublic.com. It will help you find those kind of adjacent search questions that people are using when they're looking up your practice area. Like, Chicago personal injury attorney or Chicago personal injury lawyer. I actually did one this morning. I went to answerthepublic.com and I typed in personal injury lawyer, and it gives me all of these other questions that people are likely to ask when they're searching personal injury lawyer. So what does personal injury attorney do? What is a personal injury attorney? What to ask a personal injury lawyer? And all of those different things are what you can then use to phrase your content and to incorporate those keywords and get you ranking higher in search results.
Totally. I love that tool. Another two other tools that I'll just kind of throw out there if people really want to get heavy into trying different options. One is Google Search Console. So I love Search Console data is coming from Google system data. So looking at the impressions in there, if you find impressions that have volume, so identify that volume, and you're already, you might take high impressions where your position might be like 5 through 10. So you're on the first page for something that has a higher impression, but you're not getting a lot of clicks. Those are great to target because if you can bump those into those top 3 spots, whether it's by rewriting a page or re-optimizing or building links, those are going to be kind of low-hanging fruit for you because you're already on the first page. You just need to get in those first 3 spots, and you already know that there's impression volume, so you're not chasing your tail on trying to figure out like, is there anybody even searching on this? And I think that's a good thing to point out too for lawyers that are working with vendors is, don't fall in love with rankings, because if your vendor's reporting on, your number 1 ranking for all these terms, but there's no volume for those terms, so no one's searching on them, or you're ranking number one for all of these terms and they're not turning into inquiries, then you might be on the wrong terms. So I think that's a good cautionary tale for if you're getting ranking reports that look good, like you're ranking number one, but you're not getting corresponding traffic and inquiries from those, you might rethink the value of actually ranking for those queries.
Really good point. So we just threw a lot of information at people about how to identify keywords and then some research and tools that they should use. How do they now take those keywords and use them on their site without just personal injury attorney Chicago, we are the best personal injury firm ever? How do they do that appropriately? And so they're not just having the same 3 words listed over and over again.
Exactly. And so this is the area where we really see, I think a lot of lawyers have a good sense of volume, like understanding that we actually need to publish stuff on topics that people are actually searching for. But mapping keyword topics to pages looks like it's big. I think there's a lot of old school thinking on this. So here's my 2 cents. One is you don't need to create a page for every permutation of keyword, plurals, variations of attorney and lawyer and law firm. So what I like to do is once you have this big keyword list, so you've done all this keyword research, you've got keywords attached to volume, competition level, relevance, maybe put them all in a spreadsheet and have a volume column and a competition column and a relevance score column, and then start finding similar keywords and similar search intents. So what that means is instead of trying to be I'm going to create a page for every single one of these keywords, or I'm going to map one of these keywords to a particular page of my site, group keywords that have similar search intent. So the searcher is looking for generally the same thing, and then create a page that's targeting those keywords. So switching from this idea of one-to-one page to keywords to groups of keywords that are thematically relevant based on search intent to a page. Similarly, if you're a paid search person, it's kind of how you would put keywords in an ad group in AdWords. That's kind of the way that I think about it.
Yeah. I also like the idea of doing a blog post with the title of, and then of course the information that answers the question that would actually be the question that people are searching for. So what to ask your personal injury lawyer would be the title. And then of course you put that content in your post or in your video that answers that question fully, succinctly, and shows that you're the expert on this subject.
Right. Once you have that idea for the question that you want to publish about, you want to include those keywords in page titles, meta descriptions, URLs, H tags, and then naturally throughout the post as well, or the page. So I think a lot of people think too that they just need to repeat the same keyword over and over again. Go look at what Google is showing you in their results for related search terms. There's a people also asked section that sometimes populates in search results. Those are all the different kind of ways that you might find related types of terms to use throughout your post. But what you don't want to do is this. You don't want to create a blog post for every variation of that question and then stuff every kind of term that you can think of out of a thesaurus into that post.
Great. So I think we kind of did the basic overview of best keywords for whatever type of lawyer you are. I have a few little takeaway tips. One of them that Guy just mentioned, but I want to hit it again because I think it's really important. Type your potential keyword into Google, but before you hit enter, read the other things that come up along with that keyword, because then you'll get to know what other people are searching for besides what you think they're searching for. If you're in a big city, try adding your office's neighborhood to your site somewhere to get those hyperlocal searches. And then third, only target the keywords that actually make sense for you. If you focus and have a niche for your law firm, make sure that your keywords are niche focused as well. And don't try to just hit the general personal injury attorney full scale thing if that's not what your law firm focuses on, if you have a smaller practice area. That will just kind of help get you out of being lost in the entire search for that larger practice area.
Absolutely. And group these search intent keywords together on related pages, right? So don't try to get every keyword you can think of on a single page. So the most obvious example of this one to me is you think about practice areas, right? So you might have a practice area section of your site, and then you might have, if say you're an injury attorney, you might have specific injuries that are sub-pages of that. So make sure you're thinking about the same way you would do in creating ad groups, group those pages together, interlink those pages together, use keywords in internal link anchor text. That's the kind of signaling information Google's going to use to understand your pages better. So you don't want to have, related pages all in different sections of your site that aren't connected to each other, because it's going to make it more difficult for Google to understand the topics that your site's actually about.
Great. So, you guys, we are trying to shorten the episodes a little bit so we can record more of them for you and make them really specific topic based. We hope that you like our format as we figure out exactly how to do this whole podcasting thing. And as always, if you have any questions, any feedback, leave us reviews, contact us directly with any questions you'd like us to answer. And of course, click subscribe.
Thanks so much.